So today I'm doing a draft for you guys, and really from the start, you gotta wait. I've tried to cut back the time that we wait in between picks, just sped them up, but I ultimately tried not to cut anything from the draft. What happens here is quite interesting. Right off the bat, the Radiant Scroll Wielder instant sorceries have lifelink, and you during your upkeep you get to exile a card and recast it. That's huge. That's huge, but it's only for instants and sorceries, of course. Detection Vortex, decent removal. It's okay. And you can see I've sped some of these up to, I think the highest speed I got up to was 16 times, which was absolutely crazy. Defiant Strike is tempting here with it being the Mystical Archive, but I go with the Spirit because I know this set is very difficult to get creatures in. So I'm kind of prioritizing towards creatures and removal and not so much the boost for them. You get too many boosts, they're a one and done. It is nice with the Scroll Wielder to be able to recast things for free though. So there is other stuff later on that does very well. The Rescuer is okay, but he's overcosted at 5. I'm kind of stuck here, and I know lessons are a thing, so I go with the lesson here, just because I then can look out for a couple learn spells, just to give us that mix up with everything. There's another one. Then we got the first day of class here. The Pledge Mage also, this isn't very good pack out of all of it. Like, we've got stuff in our colors. We're looking at red, white, Lorehold at this point. We go with the Pledge Mage there in hopes that it continues into something. Another first day in class. Eager first year. It's a 2/2 bear when it comes down to it. So I'm more looking for something that's going to be more reliable. I know you cast a spell, it gets a little bit bigger, but ultimately that's a one and done. It's not going to change your game. Make a Mark is very tempting, being able to come back with a creature here, but then ultimately we've also got Thrill of Possibility in the Mystical Archive, but we got the Rise of Exodus, which is just removal. It's solid removal. For draft, yeah, it's 6, but for draft, it's very possible to go for. We've got the Pillar Drop Warden, which on a block and sack, we could put something back on top of our deck. So that's a very neat idea. I go there. This one, the assistant, there's lots of flying in this. If you get flying, actually there's not a lot of flying. If you get flyers, you're ultimately going to win these drafts. So without things to deal with flying, it's very difficult. I've lost a few drafts now to, or even the sealed, 2 flyers. It gets kind of crazy. A Letter of Acceptance there, always having that 1 mana rock to mana fix is nice. And the fact that you can sack it later on for a card is nice. Teach by Example was about the only choice that I could do there. Same with the Blood Age General. And then we're into a couple cards that I don't really care about at this point. Late picks, just picking them up. We've got a Dream Strix here, which is tempting, but then I see the regrowth for the Mystical Archive, and that's 1 less rare wild card I'd have to spend on that. So I'm like, you know what? Regrowth is a thing I can use for Historic and Brawl. Having 1, it's worth the sacrifice of picking it up to me. Rip Apart is just solid card for removal or getting rid of artifacts. Grinning Ignis. In my sealed pool, we had 4 of these, and that thing did work. Being able to store extra mana on the board if they don't kill it and bouncing it, it's great. The Snarl is just a pickup solidly for later on down the line for like constructed play. I didn't really look at it. We could splash in the black here with it, so it was a possibility. Claim the Firstborn was tempting, but I know I need some creatures here at this point. So I'm looking at other cards. And then we got the Flying Spirit. The Dust Speaker is tempting, but I just don't feel I'm going to have the spells to make it worthwhile. Divine Gambit's okay, but then I see the Field Historian. The Field Historian giving all the spirits. I looked at the deck really quick, looking at spirits, and I'm like, you know what? We can really focus on spirits, and if that thing hits the board, we're going to destroy things very quickly. Getting the Pigment Storm doing 5 damage to a creature is huge. That's just removal. We get a Soulbound Mentor, which is also a spirit, Then I look at the Relic Sloth versus the Blood Age General. That Blood Age General being able to boost all spirits, I'm like, oh, I got to go in for spirits. We're looking at heavy spirit build at this point. The Relic Sloth isn't bad being Vigilance and Menace. It's just a solid sort of card that you can put in that will consistently give you damage. Lorehold Campus, not bad pickup late in that pack series. And Archway Commons is okay, but we're really focused at 2, so I'm looking at the Campus. Another Pillar Drop Warden is okay, another Sloth is okay. Good pickups late. There's kind of Chaos Warp here in Mystical Archive in draft was huge. I'm looking at that going, that's a big pickup. I think I want this really bad. Being able to cycle through a powerful card like that. Lorehold Excavation. This just kind of fits in with everything. Being able to remove the creatures we've used and always get a creature on board. I just sit there and go, that's going to take our deck a little bit farther ultimately. And being able to do pinging damage or gaining life is just nice in that sense. The Twin Scroll Shaman, because of the double strike, I'm kind of looking at it going, I don't really have anything, but I am kind of got that first strike going. We could do the Spirit Advisor here again, but I decided on the double strike because there isn't many double strike creatures, and it is very nice to pick those up. We get another Rise of Extus, which is, it's removal. It's, yeah, we're not playing black, but we're playing white, and for 6 mana, getting rid of a creature and getting rid of a card in a graveyard is huge. I look at the Rise, I'm like, I don't want so many of those. At 6 mana, it does get quite expensive, so I decide against it. Guiding Voice was tempting, but I sit there and go, I'm not going to use it. The Pledge Mage is once again another one that I'm kind of like, it's nice to have, but I'm not going to get the benefit out of it at this point. Then Beaming Defiance is okay with the Hexproof, but the Tome Shredder, because we're looking at things removing from our graveyard and starting to do damage and other effects, I was like, yeah, I got to go with the Tome Shredder. The Pledge Mage is tempting, but the Rescuer kind of puts it over the top being a spirit and flying, so it is quite worth it at that point. Spirit Summoning into the Lesson, so that gives us a target for our Learn, which we have a few Learn spells, especially with the removal. Dust Speaker here to get one of them back. A Mentor at the end there. Another one where we remove and scry. And at this point, I'm like, well, I could go Breakthrough, but then we have Elemental Summoning, so that's a target for Lesson and Learn. And everything else just picks up. We get that Opt Mystical Archive, which is nice. A little bit of a delay there. Another Campus is huge in this type of deck. And Dragon's Approach is where we ended off. Dragon's Approach probably being one of the worst cards to draft in Limited, so it's an instant drop when it comes to the deck. You just take it out. I kind of sit here and hod on it. I put all my removal in one pile just to try and get an idea where to go with the deck. I'm looking at my high cast. It's a little too high for my comfort standard, so I drop a Sloth and keep a couple other things there going on. The few things I do hum and haw on first day of class. Just wondering if it's worth it with the lessons. We've only got 3 in our sideboard. So the first day of class, I eventually cut them both, and that's where it is. Well, guys, this is pretty much the deck that I ended up with. I added a couple more lands. Anyway, guys, if you like this and you want to see more and see the existing of this, thanks for watching. There will be follow-ups to this on how well I do with this deck. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will see you all next time.